Hello there, my crafty friends. It's Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind Stamped AF. This week's, well, not this week's video, this month's One Stamp at a Time blog hop is Chick Ewe Out. So I, of course, am using the Welcome Easter stamp set, and I haven't actually made a sample to show you. We're gonna do this as we go. So I have done a bit of the prep already, so you can see it's gonna be a fun Easter card. So this was a design that I came up with for a class not too long ago, and I didn't share it because it was an exclusive class. But what I did was I took a top folding A2 size crumb cake card base, and using the Stitch So Sweetly dies, which I had put away, of course, that's part of the So Sentimental bundle, I used these two dies. Love these two. So take your card base and just go ahead and cut the first opening. So that's the small one with the squared off edges. And then you're going to take an A2 size card mat, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and you're going to cut out the larger piece. And then, well, you want them to line up. So you need to kind of figure out, I actually, to be honest, the easiest way is to cut out the mat first and then determine where your inner piece is going to go. So I just ended up taping that in there, and then take that off, run it through your die cutting machine. So that is the easiest way to get them lined up. Now, I had also run it through with the Coastal Weave embossing folder. You could use basket weave if you don't have that one. I love the weave on this. So the next thing we're going to do is with an A2 sized mat, again, 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to use some snail and just insert this. You could use Very Vanilla too. I had actually grabbed a Very Vanilla mat first and thought, because I've already gone ahead and stamped and cut out my bunny, I thought I want Whisper White. But you could definitely do that. So I'm not going to adhere this yet because, to be honest, I haven't fully decided what I want to do. Now, I did take a few of the colors of the Subtles color family, and using the smallest oval from the layering oval dies, I cut out some eggs. So I think I want purple to be on the base there, and then I want the So Saffron, so that is Purple Posy, not purple. Look, it matches my nails. So then we've got So Saffron, Pool Party, this is just going to be like a pile of eggs, Petal Pink, and Soft Seafoam. So there's just a bunch of eggs lying around, and then we're going to have the bunny just sitting on top there, and then we're going to stamp our sentiment in there. But before I adhere any of that, I want to decide which ribbon I want to use. And so I'm going to start by gluing this part down. You want to make sure your mat is straight, but that it is even around the edges of your die cut. And because I can't put my head right over it this time, I'm not sure that it's exactly where it needs to be. So I think I'm going to pop these up on dimensionals just to add some extra fun. I've got some glue on me somewhere. So each egg will have 2 dimensionals. Okay, so these 2 are going to be a little bit crooked. Well, the yellow one will be. And then Pool Party, Petal Pink, and Soft Seafoam. You can see that I had stamped something on that one before. But not wanting to waste cardstock, I was able to use the other side. You want to stay on the card front. You don't want that sticking through to the other side. I think I want that one a little bit higher. So as long as your dimensionals aren't showing, you're fine. I'm gonna move that one over just a little bit. You can see that dimensionals are the take your pick tool's best friend. I'm gonna take this one right off. I don't want it to go off the edge because then it won't fit into my envelope. Okay, I haven't decided if we're going to use this yet or not, but in the meantime, let's color our little bunny. I am going to color it with crumb cake. I have done smoky slate every time I've colored this little bunny, so you can straight color or you can do some shading. It's up to you. Depends on your comfort level and how many you're making. If you're making a whole bunch of them, then chances are you're not going to want to do any shading. And just thinking about where our light source is coming, basically our sun is over that way. And you want to blend while it's still wet, otherwise you're going to have to go over that again to kind of flood the area. So always try and blend while that ink is still wet. And then your markers will last you longer. Okay, and then I always like to add some cheeks using the light Calypso Coral. And we'll use the dark petal pink for the ears and the feet. You could use Flirty Flamingo as well. I don't really add any shading to the feet and the ears. And the nose. And if you messed up like me and the spot is fairly small, you can use your color lifter or you can use just a white gel pen. And this is the Sakura Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just going to go over any of the spots where I went out of the lines because I was using the brush tip, not the bullet tip. So this little pen will help you color and cover a multitude of coloring faux pas. Like if you colored in the teeth. And one more thing I like to do is you can add Wink of Stella. Mine actually just ran out earlier. I was recording a Facebook Live and used it all. So the other thing you can do is with a Sakura glaze pen, just test it out on your grid paper and then add a couple little dots. This was a Jennifer Maguire-ism, and it helps your animal just come to life. So just put a tiny little bit on the nose. Isn't that cute? You could also put it on the teeth, but I think the nose will be enough. So we'll set that aside. Okay, so let's go back to this. I have a thing for putting twine just on the edges. That should be enough. Just adds a little interest to the side of the card. And there are white tassels as well. Let's scoop this up this way. And you could also make your own tassel. just take a little bit of the twine, kind of wind it together, and make your own. There we go. And then I like to separate the twine, separate those plies. Okay, and then once you've got them separated, if they seem too long, just give them a bit of a trim. There we go. So I will keep that for another project. So our bunny should be just about ready. And what you could do is, if you don't want that little bit of outline from fussy cutting, you could color that in with the crumb cake, but I kind of want it to stand out. And the nose is not dry yet, so I am going to leave it. I'm going to leave the dimensional backings on there for now so that it can continue to dry, because I want to put my sentiment on there still. Let's put a couple of minis. I don't have any minis. At this point, I'm just trying to keep it from making that nose run. Although it's clear, I don't want it to make a mess. There we go, it's still where it's supposed to be. So now we can take our stamp set and we can put Happy Easter, we can put Welcome to the World, Little One. I'm thinking Happy Easter because sitting on Easter eggs. And you can see that just fits. So we're gonna do a little bit of masking to get that stamped the way we want it. And I am thinking, let's do some crumb cake. We'll do more tone on tone. So usually what I like to do is use washi tape, but the washi tape that I'm using right now is a little bit too thin. It wouldn't cover the whole letter. So what I'm going to do instead is just use a Post-it note and press it down so it sticks to my block. And then, if you don't want to do this, you can use a Stampin' Write marker and just write on it. Ink it up. Remember to take off that mask and stamp your Easter. And then clean it off really good. You don't want to have any ink left on there. Dry it off. And now we're going to mask off Happy. And part of the key is getting that Post-it to stick to the block. So I also try not to get too much of the Post-it in the ink. Ink it up. Discard the Post-it. Sorry, my head's just going to be in the way here for a second. Now, you can see my stamp is kind of resting on that egg. I should have opened the card to do that. But since I didn't get a perfect impression, I can use my Stampin' Write marker and just go in and fill in the part that I missed. And no one but me and you will ever know. So the other thing we can do while we're here is we can stamp a little flower or a bee. I'm not going to do any grass. We could do the leaves. I'm kind of thinking the flowers could be cute. Or maybe we just stamp it on the inside. So there's another cute little Easter themed sentiment that says, have a wonderful Easter. But again, this is the sentiment here. So we could put, no, it would just be repetitive. Happy Easter, have a wonderful Easter. So let's leave that as is, and we will stamp the little bee right above. But I don't want to see it from the front of the card. So I know if I put a little pencil mark here, just very lightly, I know that my bee has to be above that. Pardon the pun. So there we go. And now we can take our eraser, staying away from that ink. Give it a chance to dry. You can blow it off. I wouldn't rub too close to that ink though. And that is the inside. We can't see that bee from the outside. And we're finally ready to adhere our little bunny rabbit. Okay, so instead of using my take your pick tool the way I normally would, I'm just gonna pick these off. Because I'm still not sure that that nose is dry. And if you don't want to be as finicky and worried as I am, do this part at the end. I tell you that now, right? Okay, so just have it where he's sitting on the egg. And then as a final step, I know I said that was it before, but let's take some Wink of Stella and just add it to the ears, the feet, and that little chest. And as I'm finishing this, the March Creativity Without Borders class to go with Kelly Atchison and I is available until Friday, March 13th. So if you're watching this the day that it goes live, tomorrow is the last day to register. However, if you see on Saturday or whatever day you're seeing it, that it is still listed, it means it's still available. So go ahead and order it. And for $45 American or $55 Canadian, you will get a half a pack of the Best Dressed DSP, which is 6x6. You will get a roll of the Whisper White polka dot tulle ribbon. Let me show you this. So you will get a full roll of this. You will get a package of the Gingham Gala adhesive backed sequins, which are these. You will get your own Wink of Stella, which I had just used, and you will have the option to add on the Welcome Easter stamp set, which, as you know, is just too stinking cute. So if you have any questions, you can head on over to stampedaf.ca if you're in Canada, and stampabove.com if you are in the US. And we would love to have you participate in our class. You will get the cardstock to make 2 each of 4 designs, so that's 8 cards, and then Kelly and I each have a blog post with an additional design. Okay, so we are going to take a 5.5 piece of cardstock, 5.5 inch, and just cut this tiny keepsakes box out. Okay, so you just pop that out. We're gonna fold and then just break up those fibers a little bit. And now we're gonna take the little bunny and we're just gonna put his little face on here. His, her, I don't know. So using the black Stampin' Write marker, I am just going to go over, and it helps if your pen is kind of perpendicular to the stamp versus trying to go right over top. Okay, so there's the face. Doesn't that look cute? I don't have what I'm gonna block right now. So give it a huff, just to reactivate that ink in case it's dried. And there we go, we've got our little face. Not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I've also got my journaling pens out here, so I can go over that. I had tried freehanding it before, and let me tell you, it was not cute. But the character in those little eyebrows, oh my. Okay, so there it is. We can always take a mono eraser and get rid of that little bit of ink here. Good enough. Now, a little bit of punch art. So I am going to take the bulb builder And with a bit of the scrap from cutting this out, I'm going to punch out 2 bulbs. 1, 2, and then with my scrap of petal pink from before, I am going to punch out a daisy. Probably could have just used this one. And we're going to cut off 2 petals. Put some glue on the back of those. I'm just going to bend those ever so slightly. Lift them up. Isn't that cute? If you get any ink or glue that comes out, just wipe it away. Okay, and then a little bit of glue on the backs. Let that sit for a minute while you fold up your box. I was going to put mini eggs or off-brand mini eggs in there, but clearly it's too big. So I've got these little cute bunnies that I got from Dollarama a few weeks ago, and I do have other projects in mind using these bunnies. I just felt like it was too early still. But when my mini eggs didn't pan out, I had to come up with a plan B. Plan bunny. Okay, so I didn't stamp it right in the center, but that's okay. Just adds to the character. Now we're going to place these little bunny ears on here. And you can see that it needs to be on the side, because if I were to put these on here, it would interfere. This part would interfere with the ears. So just take petal pink blend. You can't even really see it. You don't, that part's totally optional. We could leave it as is, because actually it's now making the ink bleed. And there we go. So I would recommend skipping that little bit of blend in the middle, especially because I use my journaling pen to touch up the nose. But those are my 2 projects. I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed that. If you attempt either one of these projects, or if you have suggestions on how to make this one even cuter, I mean, I think it's pretty cute. But if you have a suggestion other than stamping that little face on it, I would love to see it. You can tag me at StampedAF on Instagram, Facebook, send me an email at stampedaf@gmail.com. And that is all, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed those projects. And if you haven't hit that big subscribe button below, I would love for you to do that so that you can see everything I come out with. I have a new video each and every week. I share my Facebook Lives. And yeah. So, thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you soon, my crafty friends. Bye.